Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, Assalamu-alaikum, जी आया नूम, बखैर आगले, नीहाओ, चुनशुम में वशमले, ओहाया गंजाइमस, guten Morgen, hola, boyo, privyet, kaifahal, haleshum achatore, ahlan wasal, marhaba, buna, mucho gracias, swabio, balli kreya, hoj galden, nayo sayo, yamora, chivato, chihal, jut, kalimera, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching special transmission of World This Morning today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very lucky that I've been joined by my wonderful, well-learned colleague who happens to be Ms. Hajar Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. And the first question is, where are we? But before we answer that, I think that the first question needs to be, hello Hajra, Assalamu alaikum, how are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for introducing me. Certainly, that's a very different question that where we sitting as of now. But Shahzad, today we are going to talk about one of a very important issue, I think, which is coming from a very personal tone, because we often come across such sort of people who are living in our families, who might be in our neighborhoods, in our friend circle, who might be suffering from one particular condition or disease called diabetes, right?
True.
And there are a lot of myths or lot of, I would say, legends surrounding the diabetes, which is that having or consuming a lot of sugar might induce diabetes in the first place, right? And since we are living in South Asia, in Pakistan, so we're consuming a lot of wheat, right? And we are consuming a lot of rice, and which is called to be #1 contributing towards diabetes, right?
You know, Hajar, you're right on points. You know, so I would certainly want to, give away a few figures. So imagine more than 460 million people worldwide actually suffer from diabetes, and out of which 90% happen to suffer from type 2. But not just that, where you said that the kind of food we take, I think what we really need to kind of focus over here is that it's because of your genetics too. So imagine that, that a lot of people have a genetic predisposition towards diabetes and other illnesses as well. But where are we is the question. But before we actually address that question, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, this time around, what the statistics tell us is that Pakistan actually tops the world. Not just, it's not a good news, it's the worst news that any country can get, that that we have the most diabetes prevalence within our country, and that happens to be 30 or more than 30%. There was a time back in 2016 when India and China was far ahead from us. Unfortunately, even that's not good for them. But now for Pakistan to come across such a staggering figure, where people certainly have no idea, they are genetically predisposed, they certainly do not have the right lifestyle to adopt, I think a lot of people get confused, and especially in a country, in a South Asian country, where a lot of people live below the poverty line. What solution do they have for themselves to treat their diabetes?
That's very true, and thank you so much for pointing out a very wonderful point and alluding to our lifestyles, because obviously the element of mobility is almost gone in our lifestyle, right? So we are not walking that much. We usually use our cars, and there's a lot of ease of laziness that has been introduced in our lifestyle, right? So if our ancestors were consuming a lot of wheat or the rice, which is a staple here in Pakistan, so then they were walking a lot, right? But with the introduction of this digital era and all of these luxuries that have came or creeped up into our lives, I think our sedentary lifestyle is also a big question mark as to why the rise of diabetes is so much prevalent in our country.
And thank you so much for bringing it in, because there's a reason, where you said how our forefathers, even if they were consuming rice or wheat, what we call atta over here, so if we are going to go back to rural life, so imagine that the prevalence of diabetes within the rural areas only happens to be around 1.6%. But in urban areas, ladies and gentlemen, it happens to be 11.6%. So you can feel the difference, that how sedentary lifestyle can actually take you at the verge of being that illness very fatal for you. So I think what we really need to do is now give it away that where we are. So we're very lucky that since I've mentioned that that over here in this South Asian country, unfortunately, a lot of people live below the poverty line. We certainly need a lot of donors and a lot of help from other people to kind of contribute to this cause, so that people can actually have a greater lifestyle, because diabetes is reversible. That's something I'm not saying, I'll be asking a doctor in particular. But ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we are over here at the Diabetes Center in Islamabad, and not just that, it's in Islamabad, it's in Rawalpindi, it's in Sahiwal. They're making sure that it's going to open up in Karachi, they're making sure that it's going to open up in Faisalabad.
And there's 7 branches in total, and we are very lucky that we have such sort of institute who are providing free resources to people out there, especially when Shahzad mentioned that there are a lot of marginalized communities out there who are living below the poverty line. There are a lot of destitutes out there who need such sorts of resources, and we know that the care, the cost of the health care is so much higher.
So imagine, so may it be dialysis, may it be the foot care, may it be any other organ care, it's all being treated over here at the Diabetes Center. And for people who cannot afford, it's for free. But people who still probably are white collar. We might consume the white collar, even though I do not want to differentiate and discriminate. If they come forward and say that we cannot afford it, so the only thing, they won't be paying any consultations. The only thing they'll have to pay for is the 50% of the lab fee. That's it. And their treatment will be for free. Who are those people who are actually spearheading with this initiative and saving millions of lives? Ladies and gentlemen, are actually sitting beside us. We're very lucky that from 2012 onwards, then they became operational in 2014, then their branches started to open, are giving a lot of relaxation to a lot of people all over Pakistan. We're very lucky that we've been joined by them. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very lucky that on his invitation, our entire team actually came over here. He happens to be a consultant diabetologist. He is Dr. Asjad Hamid. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
So we have had you in our studios multiple times, but this is the first occasion that we are here on your invitation. Thank you so much for inviting us, and whatever you're doing over here is superb, and we'll definitely take our viewers on that journey. But alongside him, who do we have?
So alongside him, we have been joined by another personality who's a philanthropist who has been working, making sure that this center is on the run. He happens to be member board of directors, and he is Dr. Tahir Mahmood Abbasi. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for inviting us here and for being for making sure that the institution is running and you're helping so many poor people out there. Is it true that the more we consume sugar, the more we are predisposed to having this condition called diabetes? What is your
I think this is not true, but a person who has a risk, for example, like as Shahzad said, genetic or family history, sedentary lifestyle, obesity, and then on the top, if he consumes too much sugar, then obviously he's going to develop diabetes. Otherwise, you can see many poor people who are not able to eat those kind of things. They don't have a sedentary lifestyle, but they consume too much bread, and each bread, unfortunately, causes high sugar as well. So the Pakistan is full of diabetes. It's number one in the whole world, and that's really worrying us.
Yes, that's very
exactly. And sir, in addition to that, let us just build up for all of those people, for their awareness. So I have spoken about genetic predisposition. Okay, that's number one. But this particular region to kind of be at a point where the prevalence of diabetes happens to be on number one, if we are to kind of compare it with the rest of the world, what do you think are other reasons? You mentioned about bread, roti, or sedentary lifestyle. What are those other medical reasons with which you can actually develop diabetes?
I think it's not only medical reasons. It's the first thing which you have to see, that our population is also increasing. For example, if you go back and see Bangladesh, so Bangladesh was higher than us in diabetes. But they have controlled their population, so that's why they've become 7 now. But our population on rise, our diabetes on rise. It's not only medical reason, it's to do with the population, and then our people are not able to afford. The governments cannot consume their budget on the health issues.
Right,
exactly,
right.
and which is why, I think now I would love to move on to Tahir Mahmood Abbasi Sahab over here. So Abbasi Sahab, with you, what I would want you to kind of share with us is the journey of the Diabetes Center. How was it formed? Why was it formed? Who were the people whose brainchild it was? And then we'll proceed with that. So please take us through.
The TDC journey was actually started in 2012. It's a dream of Dr. Asjad Hamid, who is our chairman. We started this journey from a very small place from the bus stop on the highway.
Okay.
So then we started in a small clinic in containers. And in 2014, we started this building, construction of this building.
Wonderful.
And so this building was completed in 2018. So that's how we moved on to this building in 2018. And since then, we are serving people here in this building.
Alhamdulillah. And since then, you've been exponentially growing. And before we actually went on a conversation with Dr. Asjad over here, and and while we were having that light conversation, he told us that there are 2,400 people which are being treated over here, and that too without any cost. And because diabetes is something with which you certainly have to go for a treatment almost every month, every week, and it's a continuous process until you make changes in your lifestyle.
Let me explain you about this a little bit, how we work. Actually, 60% people are treated free here,
Right.
And the rest 40%, they are treated, they are paid patient, but ultimately that money we generate from them, we are ultimately spending on our
Again.
deserving people.
Wow.
Right.
And you know, there's a big donor base out there as well. So you certainly have associations within United Kingdom, United
Australia.
States, and Australia.
Yes.
So how were you able to? I think that's a question for Dr. Azim because it was your brainchild. How were you able to establish, you know, centers over there which created that donor base for you to work over here in Pakistan for this cause?
I think I will just briefly say it's all niya.
Alhamdulillah.
So
Intent.
Intent.
For our English
Yes,
audiences, yes.
So whoever I met in my life, whoever is my friend, whoever is my relative, he has to become my donor. So whoever does good thing to the TDC, I am very grateful to him. So that's how we processed, that's how we progress to different part of the world. So if I was on training in UK, I had a registrar, or I was working under somebody, I was meeting somebody, I started to contacting them. And that's how we established.
So for example, if I was your friend or your relative and if I didn't donate, you know, so I wouldn't have been your friend by now.
Yes.
Is that true?
That's a very wonderful philanthropic, I mean, what do you call it, hack to make it. But Basi Saab, coming back to you, since we are talking about diabetes or sugar, so is it true, for example, that our lifestyles are geared towards such sort of, I would say, predisposition that we're very predisposed towards the diabetes, right? So for example, the element of mobility is almost reduced from our lives, right? We are not walking that much. And that makes us more, this is also a risk factor in the first place. So what is the conception regarding diabetes in the first place?
Actually, see, they're saying, you know, that diabetes is not a disease, it's all about lifestyle. So when you're talking about lifestyle and awareness, awareness is the main issue in our country. People are not aware what they're supposed to eat, what about their exercise and diet. And if they are aware of this, you know, we can really save a lot of lives. In this center, when we go for the what you call it outside what you call the camps. In the camps, we notice, you know, that 50% of the people they're diabetic, but you know they really don't know about this disease because they call it silent killer also.
That's a silent killer. And Dr. Asjad, coming back to you, again, so we have type 1 diabetes, we have type 2 diabetes, and Shahzad alluded to the fact that it can be reversed, right? So for example, the condition which is often acquired by the pregnant woman, right? So what do you have to say about such sort of diabetes and how can we prevent it?
And even with newborns now.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
yes.
Shahzad is absolutely right. And I say that type 2 diabetes mellitus can be reversed, but it's a challenge, you know, number one. Number two, recently FDA has approved some medications for type 1 diabetes, which are in media. They are basically a child who has been starting to develop antibodies against pancreas and he is going to have diabetes. If they treated with those injections like chemotherapeutic agents and they're very expensive, maybe $1,000 one injection, so they may not become diabetic. Coming back to the diabetes and pregnancy, that's natural because pregnancy is itself is a hyperglycemic stage. Your all placenta and other, they produce more sugar and hormones, lactogen, which is a breast hormone, that also produces sugar. So once the lady is pregnant, her sugars will go high. Once the child is out, then she may not have diabetes. If she maintains her weight, she will not become diabetic.
And what are exactly the gender predisposition of the diabetes? Is it like men are more predisposed towards this disease or women? And what are the particular groups when we talk about Pakistan who are more predisposed towards this condition called diabetes?
I think
60% men and 22%.
Yeah, so I think he's right, and more in men, less in females. It is more the obesity.
Any particular cause because of that?
Not really. Tension, you can say. I think you can say stress is a factor. The other problem is that people are not able to afford You know, like the education, as Tahir said, is the key. I worked 30 years outside this country, and here the biggest challenge which I have, even it's my passion, is the educating people. When we will go for the TDC tour, I will show you that how I have created some modules to do the education. For example, people are coming with even gangrenous toe, and they say, no, I'm fine, I will go home.
Yeah, and yes, I think
Right?
you mentioned that
Yeah.
there needs to be more awareness
Yes,
about it.
the
Yeah.
child is coming to me with type 1 diabetes, and his father is having a little shop. They are from very low income. We provide them free insulin, free strips, free all the things. And when we see their blood results, the results are same. It's not making any difference. So you talk to them, you say, we need to admit you, we need to train you so you can live a normal life. When we admitted free of charge, his father calls, if you become in the hospital, who will run the shop? Can you imagine?
Exactly, and
The
life
labor that they have to
and
go
life
through,
being at risk as well. But sir, I need another 2-3 answers from you with these questions, if you're going to bear with me, Hajra. And that is that, you know, so since we are speaking about diabetes, number one, do you think that there's any such sort of vaccine available which can actually protect you against diabetes?
No,
Let's say yes or
for type 2 diabetes, no vaccine works.
For type 1 and the other one?
Other only type 1.
Okay, for type 1.
Yeah, but I want to add something here for type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes, and under this program, we have recently started a program. Under this program, we will provide insulin free of cost to all Pakistanis. Either they are deserving or they are not deserving. Not only insulin, but we will provide them the glucometer and the kits itself.
Oh, wonderful. Which is why, you know, that brings me to my second question, and that is that, you know, that for my chacha who's actually suffering from diabetes, what happens is that after every, I think, somewhere 2-3 years, he certainly is looking for another consultant to go to so that he can kind of get it checked up again, because now the sugar levels have started to rise again. Now what happens is that every time we take him to any other doctor or diabetologist or endocrinologist, what happens is that they will always negate the medicine which the previous doctor has already given or the previous physician has given.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that, you know, that whatever models you have over here are for, because everybody will not react to the same medicine every time. So everybody will have a very different solution from a physician's point of view. So how do you make sure at the diabetes center that, you know, it's more holistic and it
Consistent.
actually kind of speaks about for all of those
Okay,
people
okay.
who are going to react
Yeah,
differently?
so first of all, our first evidence that we are not for profit, so commercial angle is out. Number two, we follow one guideline, which is American Diabetes Association guidelines. Number three, we provide 60% patients free of charge, and we keep a grade that these are the guidelines. They have to have blood tests, they have to have these medications, and these medications are good medications. They are multinational companies.
And are we storing our data somewhere? That what is
Yes,
the precedence and
yes,
how it is
yes.
taking
And
Yes,
again,
absolutely.
It's Pakistan manufacturing
Yes.
that in the first place.
Most of them, yes. And then our CEO, myself, who are paid patient or once in a month, we talk to our patients. We educate them here. What is your right? You need to go to the doctor. You need to talk about your medications, their side effects, what are the blood tests, and every time when you go to the doctor, ask what is my kidney test, what is my HbA1c, and then talk to me.
exactly.
Right.
And
Asif sir, sorry, I'm cutting you,
Sure.
but coming back to you, like we're talking about diabetes, and I'm pretty sure you are doing such a wonderful philanthropic work here. Are there any government policies regarding curbing the diabetes in the first place, and how is this institution working in synchronization with the government in order to control this disease? Because obviously this requires a very holistic support in the first place, right?
Yeah, actually, you see, as you know, that the government is having limited resources, and you know our health budget. It's a very small, and diabetes portion is also very tiny.
Okay.
So what we need, actually, we need more institutions or hospitals like TDC, where we can serve people to international standard. Here, we really do not have any kind of discrimination. The same medicine and same test we are doing for all our patients, either they are paid or they are free.
Okay.
So as you can see from this center, it's a
Since we're in a hospital, obviously there are a lot of patients around, so if you hear the noise, it's perfectly all right. Yes.
yeah.
Please continue,
Go
sir.
ahead.
Yeah, so we are providing quality care to all our treatment to all our patients.
Yes.
Either they are free or they are a paid patient. There is no discrimination. And same thing with medicine.
Right.
We serve all the way same medicine to either they're needy or they're paid patient.
Okay, sir, and what is the process, for everybody who's watching us right now? And I would want you to kind of share it in English first and then in Urdu too, so that it is actually helpful for other people to reach out. So, for example, अगर अब मेरे पास पैसे नहीं, unfortunately मुझे diabetes है, मैंने इलाज कराना है, क्या process होगा अगर मैंने diabetes center में आके इलाज कराना है for free?
जी, वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन. देखें, इसके लिए हमने एक इदारे की सर्विसेज हायर की हैं. उसका नाम है अल मुस्तकीम, विच इज़ अप्रूव्ड बाय गवर्नमेंट और SCCP से भी अप्रूव्ड है. उनके जो मुफ्ती साहिबान हैं वो यहाँ पे बैठते हैं और वहाँ पे जो पेशेंट हमारे पास आता है, जो नीडी पेशेंट आते हैं, सबसे पहले वो उसको असेस करते हैं. और उसके असेसमेंट के बाद फिर वो डिसाइड करते हैं कि ये नीडी है या नहीं है. तो वो जो पेशेंट होते हैं, जब वो उनको वो रिकमेंड कर देते हैं, तो फिर वो हमारे काउंटर पे आ जाते हैं, जहाँ से उनका इलाज जो है वो फ्री इलाज वो शुरू हो जाता है.
Zabardast ho gaya. So for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, obviously they do have a system over here where we do have, how do
They
we,
have hired the services of a firm called Al Mustaqim, and then they make sure that the patient who wants to come there, they're in contact with them, and then further they can reach out to the center. But Dr. Asjad,
And I want to add one more thing here, that on this Al Mustaqim, we realize, as far as the management is concerned, we do not have any kind of control on it,
Right, right.
So they are free whatever they decide.
तो यानी पर्ची नहीं चलती, आप ये कह रहे हैं. अगर कोई आएगा, सर देखें आप तो बोर्ड के मेंबर हैं, प्लीज हमारा इलाज तो करवा दें. तो आप क्या कहते हैं फिर आगे से?
जी,
आप क्या कहते हैं फिर आगे?
हम तो उनको यही कहते हैं कि आप जो प्रोसेस उसको थ्रू आप जाएं. And
हर दफा ऐसे ही होता था.
we all, not only me, but we all follow that.
Thank you so much.
That's a wonderful way of saying and having this accountability and making sure that there is a meritocracy there. So, Dr. Asjad, coming to you, since healthy people, they are also predisposed towards this condition, diabetes, right? So, how can we prevent ourselves from getting this disease in the first place, so that there is no risk factor in the body?
I think the most important thing is controlling your weight and controlling your diet. And in the diet, especially the carbs like wheat products and rice and sugary stuff.
Right,
If we control those portions and if we do 3 hours walk per week,
3 hours, okay, per week.
then it's wonderful. Or means maybe you have 2 or 3 sessions in gym in a week. That's more than enough.
So, what is the ideal diet for you? Because if you're not having roti, our parents or our spouses are the first one who are coming in and saying that you're not having a very healthy diet, right? So, what is an ideal diet which is
So
recommended
ideal
by
diet,
doctors?
for example, like if you want to have a chapati, that should be whole wheat. That
Okay.
should have some kind of barley mixed into this.
Right.
Then it becomes healthy. 50 gram should be not more than 1 chapati.
Right.
You may have a 1 or 2 each time.
Okay.
You may have
What
some
about paratha, sir?
paratha. No.
With desi ghee?
If the paratha,
Whole wheat paratha.
I think he ate paratha in the morning, yeah?
Yes, I did.
if the paratha, if some diabetic would, eats, his sugar will be more than 300
But what
after 2
about
hours.
normal person?
Yeah, not what people they eat, but then
Desi ghee wala.
desi ghee wala bahut acha hai.
Okay, now sir, two last things, and that is that since it's Monday today, so on Friday, the Diabetes Center actually had a memorandum of understanding with Baitul Mal. Can you please explain what happened and what does the MOU encompass, and how will Baitul Mal be kind of contributing towards your effort in making sure that people
Well-being of the people, yes.
well-being of the people?
Okay, very good question, and I think again I will repeat from where I started.
Right.
It's all intention,
Yes.
and I believe that charity begins from home.
That's true.
The person on my right sitting here, he is the landowner here.
Right.
Okay, and we started from the day one. We all from middle grade people, when we were abroad, we were thinking about the country, that we want to do something to deliver our country, and our main mission
Right.
was to treat and people who are not able to afford.
Right.
What is our mission? Our mission is that whoever is not able to afford diabetic treatment, he should be able to treated by our center.
Alhamdulillah.
So we started whatever we have, we get 60 million, 70 million from our own zakat. My zakat goes into this, board's zakat goes into this.
Right.
And after that, still we are not happy that we are only treating number of patients are very limited.
Okay.
So we were asking, we were
Other
around
partners to
people.
come.
Right.
So it took us some time. So similarly, as you are here today,
Right.
similarly, the Baitul Mal people, they visited us. They visited our charity center in Australia,
Right.
and they were very impressed, and they came back, and Alhamdulillah, this is started.
And that's wonderful. And ladies and gentlemen, I think now what we're going to do is that we are going to give you a visual representation of people who are actually being treated over here. What sort of facilities do we have over here? So I think that you're all in for a tour of the diabetes center over here in Islamabad. So thank you so much, Dr. Saab, for being with us. Thank you so much, Abbas Saab, for being with us. You guys doing a great job. Allah ने आपको हमारी दुआएं भी लगाए और इंशाल्लाह आगे से we'll try to make sure that we chip in towards this cause. Ladies and gentlemen, we're heading out towards a short break, and after a short break, when we come back, we'll take you to a tour and we'll be in conversation with the patients who are being treated over here for free. Let's do this. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned to PTU World. You're definitely watching World this morning, and today on Monday, it happens to be our special transmission. It's because of the fact that we are at the Diabetes Center. And, as only if you were listening to, what we spoke about in the first segment, ladies and gentlemen, now imagine that, for a country where people are genetically predisposed to diabetes, imagine that there's this institute which looks after them for free. So may it be their insulin, may it be their consultation, may it be their treatment, may it be anything, it is for free. That is something which we have been informed by the board member, by the chairman of the board as well. So for us, I think to be satisfied, it is very important, it is of utmost importance that we ask the people who are being treated over here. And please bear with me because, so they might not be able to speak in English, so I'll have to ask them the questions in Urdu. And we will later on, I'll try to kind of make sure that I translate it for you. So, Assalamu alaikum bhaijan, kya hal hai aapka?
Alhamdulillah.
कैसे हैं आप?
जी शुक्र अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह.
क्या नाम है आपका?
मोहम्मद मेहरबान.
मेहरबान भाई, एक तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कि आपने हमारे लिए वक्त निकाला, और चूंकि अब हम डायबिटीज़ सेंटर में मौजूद हैं, सबसे पहले मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आपका ताल्लुक़ कहाँ से है और आपको कब पता चला कि आपको ज़ियाबतीस है?
मेरा ताल्लुक़ गलियात से है, अब्टाबाद ज़िला में है, और रहते यहाँ बरकों में.
ठीक है.
तो
उधर तो लोग बड़े पहाड़ शाड़ चढ़ते हैं गलियात में, तो फिट रहते हैं, तो शुगर कैसी हुई आपको?
शुगर जो है ये हमारी ख़ानदानी है. पहले वालिद साहब को थी, फिर वालदा साहिबा को थी,
सही.
भाइयों को भी है, बहन को भी है. ये हमारी ख़ानदानी एक समझो.
तो आपको कब पता चला कि यार मुझे शुगर है, मैं डायबिटीज़ का पेशेंट हूँ?
ये मुझे आज तकरीबन 6 साल पहले मुझे.
तो जब आपको पता था कि आपकी वालदा को भी है, आपके वालिद को भी है, तो आप इतना साहब माशाल्लाह, आपकी कितनी उम्र होगी अगर आप बताएं मुझे? तो
52 हो गई.
52. तो यानी कि आपने 45 साल में सोचा कि चेक करा लेता हूँ कि मुझे है कि नहीं है.
नहीं चेक कराई.
तो ये मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ क्योंकि ये साथ साथ लोगों को भी पता होना चाहिए कि अगर आपके घर में आपके बड़ों में कोई है तो आप खुद भी अपने टेस्ट रेगुलरली ज़रूर कराते रहें. फिर जब आपको शुगर हुई तो फिर आपको किसने बताया कि जी ये दी डायबिटीज़ सेंटर जाओ तो यहाँ पे मुफ्त इलाज होगा?
हमारे एक दोस्त है, उन्होंने मुझे यहाँ लेके आए.
जी.
तो उसके बाद से तकरीबन 5-6 साल से यहाँ मेरा इलाज हो रहा है.
तो यहाँ आपको क्यों लाना पड़ा? आप खुद इलाज नहीं करा पा रहे थे?
जी नहीं, बस कुछ हालात ऐसे होते हैं कि आदमी नहीं बाहर से
बिल्कुल ऐसे।
अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता है, इस वजह से जो है ना.
ज़बरदस्त. तो जब आप यहाँ पर आए तो फिर अगर आप जहाँ पे बात करते हैं कि जी यहाँ मुफ्त इलाज कराया जाता है, तो मुफ्त इलाज में क्या है, सिर्फ डॉक्टर मुफ्त देख लेता है आपको या फिर दवाइयाँ भी मुफ्त मिलती साहब?
दी जाती हैं, वो अच्छी जो है ना वो केयर करते हैं. डॉक्टर भी मुफ्त चेकअप करते हैं और दवाइयाँ भी जो है ना इंसुलिन वगैरह भी देते हैं. सब चीज़ें जो है मुफ्त है, कोई चीज़ नहीं होती है, सिर्फ 50 रुपये पर्ची के देने पड़ते हैं बस.
अच्छा, तो अब जब चूंकि हम डायबिटीज़ के हवाले से बात करें तो डायबिटीज़ एक ऐसा मर्ज़ है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली अल्लाह पाक सबको सेहत तंदुरुस्ती दे, कि एक तो अगर टाइप 2 हो तो रिवर्स भी हो सकती है. दूसरा ये है कि ये आंखें हों बंदे की, दिल हो, बंदे का कोई भी ऑर्गन हो, उस सब पे असरअंदाज करती है. तो जब असरअंदाज करती है तो दी डायबिटीज़ सेंटर में अभी जो मेरी कॉलीग हैं वो हाजरा, वो इसके बाद आगे भी जाएंगी, वो सेंटर का पूरा विज़िट कराएंगी. तो आपको कभी और कोई किसी फैसिलिटी की ज़रूरत पड़ी जो यहाँ पे अवेलेबल थी, और वो फैसिलिटी कैसी थी जब आप गए वहाँ पर?
اور تو کسی فیسلٹی کی یہاں ضرورت بس یہی ڈائبٹیز کی وجہ سے جو آتے ہیں.
تو الحمدللہ کہ آپ کی بیماری کنٹرول میں ہے تو آپ کو اس طرح کی کسی چیز کی ضرورت نہیں پڑی.
جی جی بالکل. میرا ابھی وہ بائی پاس ہوا ہے
جی
تقریباً یہ 7-8 ماہ میں.
جی
میرے ہارٹ کا بھی پرابلم تھی, اس کی وجہ سے میرا بائی پاس ہوا ہے.
صحیح.
تو اس کی وجہ سے یہ ہے کہ مہینے کے بعد آتے ہیں, یہاں دوائی مل جاتی ہے, 2 مہینے کے بعد چیک اپ ہوتا
اور
ہے.
مفت ملتی ہے؟
جی مفت ملتی ہے.
ڈاکٹر صاحب بھی مفت دیکھتے ہیں؟
جی کوئی پیسے کوئی فیس وغیرہ نہیں ہے.
ٹھیک ہے, زبردست. تو اب یعنی ہماری جو خالہ ہیں بیسیکلی وہ خوش ہیں, آپ کی صحت بھی ٹھیک ہے, آپ آتے ہیں, دوائی بھی آپ کو ملتی ہے, خالہ بچے سب گھر پہ راضی ہیں
الحمدللہ جی. بس ان کی
تو وہ لوگ جو یہ پورا سینٹر چلا رہے ہیں ان کے لیے کچھ دعا دینا آپ چاہیں گے؟ اور مجھے یہ بتا, اور دعا کے بعد آپ نے یہ بھی بتانا ہے کہ آپ کی خوراک کیا تھی پہلے اور اب آپ نے کیا تبدیلیاں کی ہیں.
تبدیلیاں یہ کی ہیں, جو پہلے والی خوراک تھی وہ تو چھوڑ ہی دی ہے.
کیا تھی پہلے خوراک, کیا تھی؟
پہلے تو بہت کچھ کھاتے رہے, جو آتا تھا کھا لیتے. ابھی یہ ہے کہ جو اپنی مرضی سے نہیں کھا سکتے, بس انہیں کی مرضی سے کھاتے ہیں.
ٹھیک ہے, ٹھیک ہے. بہت شکریہ آپ کے وقت کا. میں ذرا آگے بھی بڑھنا چاہتا ہوں. فار ایوری بڈی از آؤٹ دیئر, آئی ایم گوئنگ ٹو ٹرانسلیٹ اٹ فار یو. So while we were in conversation with one of the patients who was over here, he spoke about it, that the treatment is 100% free, the consultation is 100% free. And, so he had a genetic predisposition, which I mentioned before, that 6 years earlier he figured it out, and then somebody told him that, okay, if God forbid, unfortunately, you cannot afford it, there's this diabetes centers over here in Islamabad, and they're going to treat it for free. They're going to give the insulin, all sorts of medication for free. So you just come in, give them a 50 rupee, and they'll make you a slip, and the rest of the treatment is for free. So moving on to the next patient. Assalamu alaikum bhai jan.
وعلیکم السلام ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.
بھائی جان آپ کا کیا نام ہے اور آپ کا تعلق کہاں سے ہے؟
میرا نام فضا محمود ہے. میرا تعلق ضلع ایبٹ آباد ایوبیہ سے ہے.
ضلع ایبٹ آباد ایوبیہ سے ہے, اور وہاں سے آپ یہاں تشریف لے کے آتے ہیں علاج کے لیے, ایسا ہی ہے؟
جی جی.
Okay, so for everybody who's out there, so this gentleman with me, he's from Abbott Abad and he comes over here to get himself treated. Sir, آپ کو کتنے عرصے پہلے پتہ چلا کہ آپ کو ڈائبٹیز ہے؟
یہ تو پتہ نہیں, میری بیٹی بیمار تھی کہ فولی فیملی میں, اس کے 5-4 آپریشن ہوئے تھے. وہاں میں ٹینشن میں جب ایک گاڑی میں سامان گھر گاؤں کے لیے وہ کھانے کے لیے رکھنے کے لیے گیا ہوں, اس دن کیلے شیلے بھی میں نے زیادہ کھائے تھے, تو بس پھر میں رکھ رہا تھا تو مجھے چکر وغیرہ آ گئے. میں نے آ کے واپس چیک کروائی تو 500-550 شوگر تھی. اس کے بعد مجھے ہلکی پھلکی کوئی دوائی لیا, پھر میں یہاں آیا ہوں. پہلے میں گاڑی ٹیکسی چلاتا تھا, مجھے پتہ تھا کہ ادھر آیا ہوں. الحمدللہ بہت اچھی کاپریٹ کی ہے. انہوں نے جو پروسیجر تھا, میں نے کہا میرے ساتھ
پروسیجر کیا تھا
بھائی, میں نے کہا میرے پاس تو اتنے افورڈ میں نہیں کر سکتا. انہوں نے کہا فلانے جگہ یہ چیز ہے, مفتی صاحب کے ساتھ انہوں نے جا کے مجھے پوچھا ہے, میں نے ان کو سچ بتایا ہے. اس کے بعد الحمدللہ میرا جو بھی اچھا علاج ہوا ہے. 3-4 سال ہو رہے ہیں, میں آتا ہوں, پورا اسٹاف اچھی ڈیلنگ کرتا ہے, اچھے اخلاق کے ساتھ پیش آتا ہے, صفائی اچھی ہے. یہ نہیں ہوتا ہے جو پیسے والا آتا ہے اس کو پہلے وہ کرتے ہیں, یعنی روٹین کے مطابق ہر طریقہ کار کے ساتھ اچھی ڈیلنگ کرتے ہیں.
خوبصورت. Okay, so what he's telling us over here is a very different perspective. So he's like that even if there is somebody who walks in and they are actually going to pay for their treatment, so what they're going to do is that they will entertain those people who came in first. So it's not that okay, if I'm being treated for free, so that I won't be kind of called in by the doctor for consultation on my numbers. Imagine that that's the kind of fairness we have over here, that's the kind of transparency we have over here, and he's happy with it. ایک سوال میں آخری کرنا چاہتا ہوں کہ یہاں پہ تو صفائی بھی, آپ کو دوائی بھی دیتے ہیں, خود سے اب آپ گھر پہ احتیاط کرتے ہیں یا کبھی رات کو اٹھ کے میٹھا کھا لیتے ہیں؟
نہیں زیادہ کرتے ہیں, لیکن انسان ہے بعض ٹائم کسی چیز کہا جاتا ہے کہ یہ نہیں, جھوٹ بولتا ہوں, لیکن زیادہ تر احتیاط کرتے ہیں.
السلام علیکم بھائی جان.
وعلیکم السلام.
بھائی جان آپ کا کیا نام ہے اور آپ کا تعلق کہاں سے ہے؟
میرا تعلق لاہور سے. میرا نام محمد بھولا ہے.
محمد بھولا جی ہمارے ساتھ موجود ہیں, ان کا تعلق لاہور سے ہے. سو بھولا بھائی, آپ کو کب پتہ چلا کہ آپ کو شوگر ہے؟
38 سال تھا, 38 سال تھا سر.
38 سال کے تھے. ابھی ماشاء اللہ آپ کی کتنی عمر ہو گئی ہے؟
47 سال ہے میری.
47 سال, 10 سال ہو گئے ہیں. تو آپ یہاں سے علاج کرا رہے ہیں, مفت کرا رہے ہیں؟ جب سے کرا رہے ہیں
مفت کرا رہے ہیں.
ٹھیک ہے, جس قسم کا بھی ہو, کوئی بھی دوائی ہو, کوئی بھی ہو,
آنکھوں کا ٹیسٹ بھی, پیروں کا ٹیسٹ,
یعنی آنکھوں کے ٹیسٹ, پیروں کے ٹیسٹ, سب چیز
مفت ہو رہا ہے.
ہر چیز مفت ہو رہی ہے. سو لیڈیز اینڈ جینٹلمین, آئی تھنک ایز وی پروسیڈ فردر, so may it be the eyes test, may it be the kidneys test, may it be the feet test, so everything is for free. He's getting his medicine. ایک سوال میں تھوڑے تو پوچھنا صرف وہ یہ ہے کہ جس ٹائم ڈاکٹر منع کرتا ہے کہ بھائی جی یہ چیز نہیں کھانی ہے یا یہ چیز آپ مت کھائیں, تو پھر تسی احتیاط کرتے ہو؟ آپ احتیاط کرتے ہیں بولا جی؟
ہاں جی, اس سے احتیاط کرتے ہیں. چیز
یا پھر کبھی کبھی کہتے ہیں کہ نہیں ہوں ٹیکہ لا لیا تو میں ہوں کچھ بھی کھا سکتا.
گولیاں کھانا تے ٹیکہ لایا کو نہیں. लोड नहीं पी टीके दी
नहीं कभी ऐसा हुआ कि गोली खा ली तो फिर आपने कहा जी अब मैं कुछ भी खा सकता हूँ?
अंब खांदा ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲੋਂ तो ਹੁਣ
आराम भी। लेकिन अब माशाल्लाह आपकी तबीयत ठीक है और आपका इलाज डायबिटीज सेंटर में मुफ्त हो रहा है।
हाँ जी
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bhola ji. So, with me, I had Bhola ji, and since we have covered all the aspects of it, so Bhola ji actually spoke about, so that may be the testing for your eyes, may be the testing for your kidneys, liver, everything, feet, everything is for free. And, I certainly only have prayers for all of those people who've been contributing to this very effort of or making sure that, that the people around them are going to be safe, or the well-being of the people. And obviously, Dr. Asjad actually happens to be that angel who had this brainchild of his that, okay, I need to create this diabetes center. Now what I'm going to do is, ladies and gentlemen, because this was sheer evidence of whatever Dr. Asjad spoke about, that the treatments are for free. Not just that, in addition to it, I would like to add over here that people who are white collar, I mean, I certainly do not like this discrimination of different stratas, but people who might belong to a wealthier lifestyle from these gentlemen might belong to, and they still come in and say that, that we cannot afford it. The only thing they'll have to pay for is the 50% of the lab charges, and that's it. And now I think it's about time that I take you to where Hajra is, because Hajra is going to be showing you the facility around and what sort of machinery do we have over here. It's state of the art. So Hajra, over to you.
Welcome back, and now we are standing here in the dialysis room of the Diabetes Center of Islamabad branch, Islamabad chapter here, and you can see that their dialysis machine here, 6 of them are here, and they are offering such sort of a very expensive treatment to the underprivileged people there, to the marginalized people there who cannot afford such sort of expensive treatment free of cost, and that's a wonderful initiative. And there is a very deadly connection between the dialysis and the diabetes, and in order to explore the relationship between the diabetes and the dialysis, and that is why diabetes is dubbed as the silent killer in the first place. So we are joined by Dr. Aftab, who happen to be a nephrologist. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab.
Walaikum Assalam. Welcome to the dialysis center of the TTC. Currently we are having 9 patients
Right.
which came twice weekly for dialysis, and currently we have 6. Currently we have 6 patients which are undergoing the dialysis session twice weekly, and we have total number of available machines are 6, and after 2 are hepatitis C positive, and the rest of the for hepatitis B and C, they are negative. And usually the patients come twice weekly as per need, but if they need more session of dialysis, we provide them sessions as per their need. And this session, the whole of the sessions, they are provided free of the cost by the TDC, and these are our patients. And
So Dr. Saab, how frequently does one needs to have these dialysis machine, or what is the connection between the dialysis and the diabetes in the first place?
so basically the dialysis session basically they are ideally it should be done thrice weekly, but we
Right.
are having twice weekly sessions done
Right.
every week. And so as for the connection of the diabetes and end-stage renal disease, after which someone has to go on the dialysis.
Right.
So basically the uncontrolled sugar level lead to the kidney injury,
Right.
which causes the kidney to pressurize, and it's the first sign, which is the deadly harm caused by the diabetes, is the proteinuria. The proteinuria is basically the first sign, and which ultimately lead to the kidney injury, and it goes if it's remain uncontrolled and alongside hypertension, and ultimately it goes on killing the kidney,
Right.
and ultimately the patient land into the end-stage renal disease, and finally they need the dialysis.
Right, right. And one last question before we move on to the patient, which is that how much costly is this entire treatment, especially the dialysis machine which we are talking about and which you give free of cost?
So per session, if it is done by privately, it costs 9 to 10,000.
Right,
But we are doing it free of cost,
Right.
and we are providing twice weekly sessions for every patient.
Right, right.
and with weekly and monthly labs and their nephrological consultations.
Right, right. So now we will talk to the patients out there who are benefiting from such sort of treatment, which is almost free of the cost to them. So now we will talk to the patients. अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, आपका क्या नाम है?
शराज अहमद
शराज अहमद।
जी शराज
कितना अरसा हो गया आपको ट्रीटमेंट लेते हैं?
5 साल
5 साल में। और क्या आपको कोई पैसे वगैरह पे करने पड़ रहे हैं
नहीं,
यहाँ पे?
कुछ भी नहीं।
नहीं करे। और इसकी क्या एहतियात डॉक्टर साहब ने आपको तजवीज़ की है?
ये दवाई वगैरह देते हैं और जो बाहर के लोग हैं वो इसके साथ हॉस्पिटल के साथ तावन करते हैं, उससे चलते
राइट। और आप करते क्या हैं? आपका पेशा क्या है?
ड्राइवरी करता था।
Right. So you can see the patient here. He used to be a driver. Now he is taking this treatment, which is a free of cost, and you can see that how such sort of underprivileged and marginalized communities are benefiting from such sort of work, which is almost free of cost. And we have another patient here. So we will ask him. अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, आपका नाम क्या है?
वालेकुम सलाम। अब्दुल बासित।
अब्दुल बासित, आप क्या करते हैं?
जी मैं पुलिस में मुलाजिम हूँ।
जी। और आप कितने अरसे से यहाँ पे इलाज करवा रहे हैं और क्या आपको पैसे वगैरह भरने पड़ते हैं?
मुझे तकरीबन 1 साल हो गया और फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है।
ठीक है। और आपको कैसे पता चला इस इदारे का?
एडवर्टाइजमेंट से ही, और दूसरा मेरी जॉब भी यहीं पे ही करीब ही है, तो इस वजह से इस इदारे का पता चला।
Right. So you can see that there is another patient who is also having this treatment, which is almost free of cost, and he's benefiting from them. And he's saying that it has been 1 year since he has been taking this treatment. And now we will take you towards a tour of another facilities that this wonderful institution is offering.
All right, so for everybody who just actually kind of saw these visuals where I was standing on a machine, ladies and gentlemen, this is the only machine which exists in Pakistan. And, so I do not know what do we call this test. So I have the expert over here, Dr. Saiba is with me, Shafaq Busha Saiba. So, assalamu alaikum, madam.
Walaikum assalam.
So, madam, what was I doing over there? It looked like as if it was a weight machine, but what does it do?
Basically, it's a machine. We call it in-body device 570. This is the latest model available in Pakistan. This is the only one machine that is available in Pakistan. In this machine, we check overall view of a body. As you know, we are human beings. We are made of different nutrients. So in this machine, we scan. This is an anthropometry measurement test, which scan not only your body fat percentage, your body proteins, minerals, muscle content, muscle wasting, your internal fluids, intracellular, extracellular fluids, your body lean, segmental analysis. As you know, as a diabetic patients, they have some weaknesses in their body, and some patients have trunk weaknesses, some have upper limb and lower limb, shoulders and these type of weaknesses. So this device indicate all the weaknesses, and this is the only thing that is available in Pakistan in the diabetes center head office.
Okay, wonderful. So now what we're going to do is now, because you've tested me, so tell me, where am I? So am I healthy? Am I not? Are my bones fine or not? See, this is why I do not like coming to hospitals. Dr. Shafaq, for being with us, and for everybody who's out there, obviously, because when you're going to get on this machine, you really need to give your history. So she didn't knew that that I've had a back operation or one of my leg does not work properly. So I think all of these things, when you're going to give away, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to give you a holistic picture of whether you're doing good or not. I think I'm doing good. Thank you so much.
So now we are sitting here in the foot ulcer center in the diabetes center. And why is there need particularly to establish a different foot center in the first place? So we have Dr. Asjad here, and we are going to explore the link between the foot ulcer center and also the diabetes. So Dr. Saab, what is the connection? And I am watching here that you have established a very wonderful place here with different foot shoes here and the soles here. So what is the connection between the foot ulcer and the diabetes?
So the diabetes causes limb loss, when the people they have diabetes, ulcers and other things.
Right.
So we felt that this is needed. What is needed is the educating people. So this does not exist even in the world, that everyone who has touch of diabetes or diabetes with complication, they have to walk through this center or this room, and they will be educated through video and also lectures how to prevent that, and we see their feet and we advise them same way that how they can prevent happening foot ulcers. Thank you.
Right, right. And we also witnessing here that there is a test going on. So we would like to ask also the Dr. Saiba so as to what is happening. Right, so Dr. Saiba, what is this test going on?
This is basically test for the sensation of the patients with diabetes. So the normal value of this test is 15. This is the visual.
15 rupees?
No, 15 volts.
Okay.
15 volts. 15 volts is the normal value. So we check the sensation of the patient. We put this probe on the plantar surface of the foot and ask the patient if he or she is feeling the vibration sense or not. So he tell us that whether it is okay with the vibration or not. So they tell us, and then we assess it from the machine. If it's 15, so the 15 is the normal value. If it's more than 15 or 20 plus or 40 plus, there is a loss of sensation, and then we decide the orthotic treatment or prosthetic treatment for the patient. So the main thing about this sensation is that we have to refer the patient for pedo scan. It's also the sub-department in our foot center.
Right.
So this is the report of pedo scan.
Right.
This is the report.
Right, thank you so much. And we've seen that there was a comprehensive foot test being taken, and now let's take you to other departments. Right, so now we are sitting in the multidisciplinary type 1 diabetes clinic for the kids. As you can see, it's a very colorful building here, and we are sitting with a Dr. Saiba who is going to explain the importance of why this center is necessary in the first place. Dr. Saiba, over to you.
Thank you very much. This is our type 1 dedicated clinic, which we have called Blue Lilies. Why is it important? Because type 1 diabetes is very different from type 2, as we all know. A lot of people know about type 2. But what happens in type 1 is that the body's immune system, it attacks the pancreas, which produces insulin. So these kids, they don't have any insulin in their bodies at all. So for life, insulin is required. And without insulin, there's no life for them.
Okay, there's one more question which I would want to ask, and that is that because in my family I have a nephew who actually suffers from diabetes, and he was 9 years old when he was diagnosed. For parents who might not have idea that their child might be diabetic, what are the early symptoms for their children, unfortunately?
Yes, unfortunately, it can be a very traumatic period for patients as well as for their parents as well to see their child suffer, because what the usual early symptoms is that the child starts losing weight, even despite eating. He eats a lot and he's very, very thirsty all the time. If it's a young child, he might be bedwetting because you urinate a lot. So these are the very common symptoms. And sometimes it's really, we find out in an emergency setting where the little child might be complaining of a very sore abdomen and vomiting a lot. And when they go into ER, they find out that they have diabetes.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Saiba, for enlightening us. And now we are going to talk to the CEO and tell us what are the future strategies for expanding such sort of a wonderful and philanthropic initiative in the first. And now we are joined by the CEO, Misaq Saab, who happens to be here, and he will talk about the strategies to further expand these institutions, not just holistically and nationally, but also we might ask him if we want to venture into the urban and the rural areas where the prevalence of such sort of diabetic patients is a lot. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the PTV World for their graciousness. They have given the priority to the TDC Pakistan, and they have visited us. And for that, my humble gratitude to all of you.
Thank you so much.
As a CEO, I would like to apprise you that this is a unique blend of the charity care patient, the paid patient, the different categories of the white collar and the pink patient. This is all about the affordability of the patient, those who are being taken care, healthcare in TDC. To be honest, telling you that this is an inspiration to be serving in the TDC as a Chief Executive Officer, because this is something that Pakistan is really affected by the diabetes. And I would like to tell you that this year, Pakistan is ranked #1 internationally in the diabetes. I mean, this is very sore. This is very unfortunate that we being a poor country, a progressing country, and with limited resources, but yet the deterioration of the health is really soaring, and the diabetes is topping in the world.
And sir, to be honest, thank you so much, for kind of pinpointing and highlighting all of these issues as well. And we certainly want to congratulate you, your entire team, for making sure that, that all of those people who unfortunately cannot afford, and even for people who can afford, that you bring them the state-of-the-art facility. And inshallah, in days to come, we will certainly see that there will be a downfall in the prevalence of diabetes itself. Certainly want to wish you best of luck, and for everybody who's out there, as much as they feel that they are responsible for the well-being of Pakistanis out there who might suffer from diabetes, I believe that in the first place, it happens to be our responsibility to look after ourselves and our loved ones, which is why towards the end, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one thing we are going to say. So first of all, look after yourselves, and then TDC ka saath do.
Diabetes ko maat do.